Welcome to At the Threshold. It is day 10. My name's Katie. Thank you so much for being here. Now we're at the point where we're past the first week where maybe you took some action towards your goal or put yourself out there in some way as you start something new. And I just want to share with you such a common experience that I had along the way, especially when I did something really big or something that I felt was really shifting my life. So you may have not experienced this yet, but for me, when I was starting my company in particular, I can think of exact moments, exact meetings, conferences, just situations where I had this thrilling high, and then all of a sudden there'd be a crash, like something out of the blue would just sort of burst my bubble. If this has happened to you already in this journey, I just want you to know it's kind of part of the gig. So maybe take it as an affirmation. And if it hasn't, you know what? It probably will if you're trying to do something and shift something big enough. And this idea, I don't know if it comes from the law of balance, but it has been an experience for me. And it's not like something that always happened, certainly not daily, not even weekly. And I would go through phases of it, but some really thrilling, maybe my first sales demo or the first time I went to a conference. I remember right after that, the next day, some wild stuff happened that was like, just how am I gonna figure this out kind of stuff? Maybe I should just give up what I'm trying to do. So I went through like, oh my goodness, people are really excited about what I'm doing, to, I don't think I can do this. It is just sort of, I don't know, part of our growing process or something. I've seen it in myself in the last 6 months as well and experienced it. The other part of this that I want to share with you in my own reflections of my own journey is sort of this insight that I got about becoming mature, becoming just mature in our growth as a human, becoming spiritually mature, however you want to frame that. Is as a kid or a teenager in my 20s, maybe even, I kind of thought that as I grew up, or spiritually mature people, like everything just was easy for them. It's kind of like good things happen to good people kind of idea. And that the more you mature, the less you have to deal with the difficulties of life. And I think we're all kind of fed that idea that good things happen to good people. And that's one of the concerns I have with the law of attraction by itself, because I talked about that a little bit yesterday. But instead, my experience and studying more of the mystics of different traditions and people like Richard Rohr is that the more we mature, it expands our capacity to hold both things. So as we put ourselves out there, we get the opportunity to have these thrilling adventures and highs and the satisfaction and joy of doing something meaningful just for the sake of doing it, experiencing beauty more deeply. On the other side, we're putting ourselves out there, so there's more failures, there's sense of risk, and there's this big disappointments at times, and both are true. And the idea of being mature is that you actually build the capacity to hold both, and you don't get one without the other. You just don't. And I have, actually when I was young, I really studied Mother Teresa a lot. I was just at awe of her ability to put herself in a place to just service of others. And, from my view, she always looked like she did it so effortlessly. And then I saw that her journals and her diary writings later on in my life and the anguish. And that's actually when something clicked in me, that her huge capacity for compassion and love came out of her huge capacity to feel anguish. And that's where her compassion came. So I just want to, for today, encourage us all to reflect on how life can feel a bit like a roller coaster, and even more so when we're putting ourselves out there and trying to shift big things. And sometimes those highs are followed by the lows, and that is part of the journey. So welcome it and recognize that that's just signs that you're putting yourself out there, you're being courageous, and you're changing and shifting things. And change takes a little bit of work. So I always tell my kids when things don't go quite right, or there feels like this element of risk, or like, oh gosh, what are we gonna do? I've always said, it's an adventure. My kids have learned sometimes that means I'm a little scared, or I don't really know what I'm doing, so I'm just gonna call it an adventure. But here's a quote to end for today. It's from Helen Keller. She says, life is either a daring adventure or nothing at all. Thanks for joining. I'll see you tomorrow.